This week we're discussing Chapter 2 of Hold Paramount. And the overview of this chapter is mainly about one key word, which is ethics. So, Van, in your word, what do you describe as an ethic?
My own words, ethic is a code of conduct that is, based on your own values.
All right, now, in the book it said, can we afford to be ethical? This is kind of a tricky question. It makes no sense to me, really. It says nothing bad will probably happen if the engineer increases to learn or ceases to learn. So should we be ethical in our work?
Yes, we should always try to be ethical. We know in the story about Kelly that a lot of times or all the time in her job, she was faced with unethical decisions about a CR5 or something like that, that they were dumping into the water. It was basically an unethical decision, but since it was her job, she had to follow exactly what they said, which makes it tough to be ethical in that situation.
CR5, that's chromium. So, this company was dumping chromium into the river, which they had rights as to a legal amount of chromium. It was still hurting the environment, but technically, they were in legal standards, so they could actually get away with it and not get in trouble. So it was an unethical move for the boss on his part. But Kelly did try to stop it. She tried to approach him with it. Oh, sorry, chapter 3. Now, ethics as a decision-making model. What did you read from this section? Nothing. Like you didn't get. Yeah, it wasn't really interesting. All in all, this chapter was way too boring. It talks. Yeah, it talked about ethics, like the code of ethics and stuff. That was horrible. I didn't like this chapter that much. It's not as good as the first one.
But anyway.
Did you? Yeah. 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 Did you read about how a person can stop being an engineer? About how was it Scott Adams? That guy.
One of the discussion questions at the end of the chapter was asking, should the fact that Kelly's mother is ill have anything to do with her decision? Would Kelly's mother's happiness enter into decision making? For me, I don't think her mother's illness has anything to do with the decision. I'm sure it might give some kind of emotional distraction for her and her job. What do you think, Gary?
When it comes to a decision and emotion, in the previous chapter, it had said something about not depriving them of pleasure or whatever. Not the pleasure we think about these days. But other than that, I don't know. It's a tough decision because you might be affected by it, like subconsciously. Maybe not directly. You might not openly show it and be like, oh, because my mom's sick, I don't want to do this or that. But you might think about it to yourself. So, Van, what are your thoughts on the statement, it is your choice to be an engineer?
Well, in life, obviously we have a choice, but as engineers, we also have choices. We have a choice to what job we're going to have. We have a choice to make unethical or ethical decisions. And Part 1B of the ASCE Code of Ethics states that engineers shall approve or seal only those design documents reviewed or prepared by them, which are determined to be safe for public health and welfare in conformity with the accepted engineer standards. So this is proof right here that we, as engineers on a certain project or design, we have the decision to sign something that could be safe or unsafe. So if something is unsafe, obviously you don't have to sign it. But seeing as it's your job and you might be there to make money, there's also the fact that it could be a tough decision to make.
So basically, in the field of engineering, most choices are like a double-edged sword, and they have consequences and both good and bad. Like you could either make money and feel bad, Or you can feel good about yourself and be broke. So it's one of those things. Are you richer in your wallet or richer in your heart? Anyway, we can use this moment for class discussion. So if you have any questions, you see Van, Gary, and Nathan. Actually, Nathan, he couldn't come for this video because he was under the weather, so to say. He'll be back for our next video, though. So vid us shortly. Thank you. Have a nice day.